Welcome back, everyone. In this video, we're going to break down one of the most important parts of camera lenses. That's focal length. And I'll show you exactly how focal length affects your image. Now, in the last video, we went over what focal length is. Remember, it's the distance between your camera's sensor and the lens's point of focus measured in millimeters. You'll see it written like this on your lens: 75 millimeters, 100 millimeters, 135 millimeters, and so on. Now let's look at how focal length actually changes the look and feel of your images. Now there are 4 things that focal length affects: field of view, image compression, background blur known as depth of field, and distortion. Now to explain field of view, let me demonstrate and show some examples.
Okay, so I'm here on location in this beautiful garden and I've got my camera set up on a tripod. I'm starting at 24 millimeters, which is as wide as this lens goes. What you're gonna notice is how much of the world can fit inside your frame. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that shot. Perfect. And now I'm gonna zoom into 35 millimeters. It's still wide, but not too extreme. Okay, and I'll take that. Now at 50 millimeters, we're gonna be much closer to how our eyes naturally see the world, which is gonna be great for everyday scenes, general use, that sort of thing. I'm gonna zoom into 50 and go ahead and take that shot. Now I just switched out my lens so I can go to 85 millimeters. We're entering telephoto territory. Now you're gonna start noticing how much less of the world you can fit inside your shot. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that at 85. Now I'm gonna zoom in now to 135 and you can see that difference, 135 millimeters. And our final shot is 200 millimeters where we're really gonna be focused on a small part of the world and not the entire environment. So let me do that, zoom into 200 millimeters. And now I'm gonna let you compare all the shots together. So what you'll notice is that your focal length affects your field of view, or how much of the world you see inside of your frame.
Hey everyone, just really quickly, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Art Lens Academy. You see, anyone can take a picture, but becoming an artist, that takes a little bit more. Now, Art Lens Academy is a comprehensive program built on a 4-part framework. It's designed to take you from photography basics to true artistic expression. Now, you'll learn the ins and outs of your camera, you'll master lighting and editing, you'll even discover how to tell powerful stories through your images. But it doesn't stop there. In fact, Art Lens Academy actually helps you build a portfolio, a career, and a creative practice that's rooted in meaning and spirit and voice. So if you're ready to grow, and not just as a photographer, but as an artist, then this is your path. Click the link below to learn more and start your journey today. Now let's get back to the content. The second is background compression. Longer focal lengths make your background appear larger and closer to your subject. Now, as you zoom in, your subject and your background get visually compressed together, creating a flatter look. Let me go ahead and show you.
All right, so we're here on location with our lovely model in this beautiful garden. We've got a building in the background. Now notice that my camera is not on a tripod this time, and that's because I want to be able to move easily with the camera. I also want to fill my frame with my subject. I don't want to have too much space below her feet or too much space above her head. Now I'm going to start at 24 millimeters, which means I need to be close to my subject. So I'm going to go ahead and take that shot. That looks good. Now, as I zoom in, I also need to back up in order to keep her at the same spot. So I'm gonna zoom in to 50 millimeters and go ahead and back up.
All right, so notice the difference in just those 2 images. In the image on the right at 50 millimeters, it looks like the lamppost and the sidewalk are much closer to our model, when in reality, she hasn't moved and they're at the same distance for both images.
Now I'm gonna zoom in again and continue to back up. I'm gonna change my lens and go all the way to 100 millimeters. So I just shot that at 100 millimeters. As you notice, there's a lot more distance now between me and my subject. Now I am making sure to fill the frame with her full body, leaving just a little bit of space above her head and a little bit of space below her feet. Okay, finally I'm at 200 millimeters on this lens, and you can see how far away I am from my subject right now. And I'm gonna take the shot and let you compare those 4 images.
Now in these images, notice how much more compressed or flat the image feels at 200 millimeters than at 24 millimeters.
So remember this, your focal length affects background compression, or in other words, how flat or expanded your image feels. Lastly, we have background blur, technically known as depth of field. Now, you'll learn a lot more about depth of field in the settings module later, but for now, just know that the longer lenses generally create more of a blurry background. Let me show you. Okay, so I'm in this beautiful little pocket of the garden here, and I want to photograph these marigolds. My focal length is going to be at 35 millimeters, and my aperture is as wide as it can go at 2.8. So I'm going to go ahead and take that first shot here. I'll let you take a look at that, and I'm going to go ahead and change out my lens. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the same shot, this time at 135 millimeters. My aperture is still at the same size it was, f2.8, so it's still pretty wide open, just so you can compare the difference as I zoom in my lens. So I'm going to go ahead and take the same shot of the marigolds. Notice how the second photo taken at a longer focal length has a much blurrier background. It's almost as if the background here just sort of melts away. So just keep that in mind as you zoom in or out with your lens. The last thing that your focal length affects is image distortion. This is easily noticed in a human face, so here's some examples. At 24 millimeters, notice how her nose looks a little big and the sides of her head, where her ears would be, has been flattened and kind of pushed back a little bit. But as we zoom in with the focal length, her face sort of flattens out a bit more naturally, the nose is not as pointed, and the sides of her head look a bit more proportional. Although I will say be careful, because if your focal length is too long, say 200 millimeters like in this example, her face looks a little too flat, as if she just gained 20 pounds. Now here's a few of the images together so you can see the distortion more clearly. So the next time you pick up your camera and lens, ask yourself a couple questions. How much of the scene do I want to capture? How flat do you want your image to look? Do I really want a blurry background or not? The lens that you choose to put on your camera and the focal length that you select makes a significant difference in how your final image looks. All right, guys, if you have any thoughts or questions, make sure to drop them in the comments below. And if this video helped you, make sure to like and subscribe for more great content. Also, make sure you click the link below for my free gear list, where you get all of my recommendations for the best cameras, lenses, tripods, and more, depending upon the type of work you're doing. And lastly, remember, great art doesn't have to be made with great gear. It's made by great vision. So keep creating, and I'll see you in the next video.